I wish for one election that every black person would vote Republican.
He's doing the thing again, and thus...
Stephen A. Smith loves the ladies.
He does.
He does love the ladies, right? It doesn't matter how bad it's going with the ladies. You know what Stephen A. Smith is not going to do?
What?
Try some.
Okay.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because that's not who Stephen A. Smith is.
Okay.
Because as bad as it gets with the ladies, Stephen A. Smith is not going to go out and go, maybe a little help. Something that's completely counter to my identity and what I want and need. It's not going to do that.
The man Van Lathan just tells it like it is.
What? How can he say that? I said, it's simple. Since 1964, the black folks, we have been giving our vote to the Democratic Party at an exorbitant rate. Therefore, they know they got our vote, and they don't have to cater to us as much as we need them to. The Republicans know they'll never get our vote, so they don't give a damn about us. And as a result, we're the only community in America devoid of representation, which is why we're considered disenfranchised.
The giving our vote is pure right-wing rhetoric.
It was the 1964 Civil Rights Act, it was the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and it was the Fair Housing Act as well. These were all core centerpiece pieces of legislation that passed under Lyndon Baines Johnson, who was a white Southern Democrat. So when you use the terminology give, you make it seem like that vote wasn't earned. The vote was earned because the Democrats delivered the pieces of legislation that were going to improve Black life. Black people didn't give Democrats anything. The Democrats had to earn Black people's vote through those pieces of legislation that I mentioned.
The earned vote is an absolute farce, but Stephen A. doesn't care about that.
I understand people saying, hey, black people should experiment politically. And I think that what that means is that black people should experiment politically to the left of the Democrats. They should experiment politically with things that are humanistic and are things that are based in justice and working people's rights and, healthcare and things like that. But how could you experiment with the Republicans? You want me to vote for disenfranchising black people? You want me to vote for making DEI a cartoon character monster, like making blackness like an American deficiency? What are they offering? Vote for them. Vote for what? Vote for women losing their bodily autonomy?
This is the way 1000%. There is no counter.
What I want is to put ourselves as a community in a position where both parties have to work to get our vote.
Man, this guy is tiresome.
The Republicans are failing to cater to black people because their base is obviously and viciously racist. For this to come out on the heels of black people led by Republicans being gerrymandered out of their voting power all over the South, their ancestral home, is incredible. Like, you can say that, hey, the Democrats aren't doing enough, and I will agree. The Democrats need to be pushed. I will agree. I would say experiment to the left of them. Experiment with some political theory that might press on some nerves in your brain a little bit. But if you experiment to the right of them, then you vote for the people who need you gone in order to achieve their political ends. How is that helping you?
He's right. Co-host Rachel Lindsay would also bring up a fantastic point.
This, to me, a statement like this shows his privilege, because if, let's just say, black people are like, you know what Stephen A. Smith is saying makes a lot of sense. I'm going to start voting Republican. They would be voting against their direct interests for all the things that you're saying with what the Republican Party and the Trump administration are doing now. And it would not affect him personally. So he's sitting at a place of privilege saying, hey, vote for this. And if it goes wrong, he won't be impacted with his $100 million contract with ESPN in various places. But the people who actually need the change, who need democracy to work, who need policies that benefit them so they can get out of the current place that they're in, are going to be the ones that suffer.
Rowan Martin also weighed in on Smith's vote Republican once line.
Black people were hardcore Republican voters after the Emancipation Proclamation, and the end of the Civil War. Black people were hardcore Republicans from the 1800s through 1964. Black people were riding with Republicans because radical Republicans pushed through the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. It was Southern Democrats who were fighting Republicans. Now, when the Great Compromise of 1877 happened, guess what? Republicans sold black people out. Black Republicans called out Republicans by saying, y'all sold us out, y'all left us out to pasture. Congressman White gives his Great Phoenix speech. He was the last African American who was in Congress from North Carolina, and he gave that great speech on the floor of the House. Now, guess what? Herbert Hoover was a Republican president. Herbert Hoover was leader of the Lily White Party. Herbert Hoover, black people still voted for Herbert Hoover because Democrats were worse. What happens in 1948? You now begin to see Democrats nationally begin to embrace. They put civil rights in their plank. Of course, Senator Hubert Humphrey gives a passionate speech on the floor. He was fighting Southern Democrats. Now you begin to see the crack. People go, okay, all right, because black people were saying, well, Republicans ain't really riding with us. So you go to 52, 56, then you get to 60. Jackie Robinson, black Republican, was imploring Richard Nixon to do more to get black people's vote. Kennedy was sitting here being aggressive with it. Black folks shifted, solidified black support to Stephen A. started in 64 when Senator Barry Goldwater opposed the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Black people said, oh, hell no. Jackie Robinson, black Republican, campaigned against LBJ. Barry Goldwater then votes against the 65 Voting Rights Act, calling it unconstitutional and unnecessary. So the reality is Nixon comes in 68 with a Southern strategy appealing to white voters. The Republican Party since 1964 has been anti-black.
I am just going to state the obvious here. Stephen A. Smith is a capitalist. He does not believe that a rising tide lifts all ships. He just doesn't. He has spewed so much rhetoric that not only go against what he thinks he is uplifting, but also his misogynistic views do not align with where our politics should be going. But if he's saying, I want black folks to withhold their vote, while also in the same breath saying vote Republican once, what are you talking about? What are you saying, man? How in this day and age, when Republicans don't want black folks to vote? Paul Weyrich a long time ago, we've gone over this, a long time ago, said he doesn't want more people to vote. They win when there's less turnout. They win when the vote is limited. Why would you want people who are smart as hell, well-read, understand the history of this genocidal white supremacist country, tell them, hey, do it once and vote against yourself as a human being? Because you know what it means? It'll be the last time you vote. Think about if Republicans had a super majority. Let's say that there were 10 Dem seats. Screw it, 20. I'll give you 20. 20 Dem seats in the House and 0 in the Senate. I'll give you 2. I'll give you 4. What would happen then? We have already seen what's happening right now when there's a supermajority in Tennessee. To say this in 2026, like, here's the thing. There was a part of this interview with Stephen A. Smith on Cam Newton's show where he asked him, like, do you think this political stuff is going to hurt your career? And Stephen A. basically said, like, well, it's proving to be a success. And I know what he means by success because he is in the eyeball business, the clicks business, the opportunity business to get on other platforms to spread your message. I think the issue with just media in general is that the point of entry is so minimal at this point, which is a good thing and a bad thing. A good thing because more voices get recognized, really great podcasts are discovered, more really insightful people jump into your feeds. But the opposite side is that we just give credence to nothing burgers, lacking true thought on this subject. Like, he thinks that we should vote that black folks should vote Republican once, that black folks should vote Republican once because you know what? That would lead to black liberation and it would help black folks. We are seeing how this movement that is based in a patriarchal white supremacist ideology, that they do not want black folks having a voice at all. And essentially what Stephen A. is doing is serving as the yes men to those forces by saying, let me help you screw over everybody. And I have a problem with that. And you should too. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.